Hello, Jasmine here. In this video we are going to look at IELTS, International English Language Testing System, and its different components. So, International English Language Testing System, best known for its acronym IELTS. So what is IELTS test and how many parts are included in the test? IELTS is a paper-based test which measures the 4 skills in English language: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And it has got 2 types of training, 2 modules, general and academic. General is for people who wish to apply for work visas, for migration, and for residency. Academic for people who wish to pursue their education in certain countries of the world. So it's for academic purposes, as the name suggests. In the general test, let's start with the order of the test. The test starts with writing, and then it goes to reading, and then it goes to listening. And there's a speaking as well, which may be done in the same day of the exam, of the written exam, or in different days, like before or after the test. Writing of general IELTS has 2 parts, task 1 and task 2. Task 1 of general IELTS is a letter task, in which the candidates should write at least or minimum 150 words in 20 minutes. So it's a letter. The candidates will be given a topic for a letter, and then they need to spend 20 minutes to write at least 150 words. And task 2 is an essay. We will go for the essay in more details later. The reading of general, so the time for task 1 is 20 minutes, for task 2 is 40 minutes, which means together the writing is 60 minutes, 1 hour. Okay, they are not timed separately. The candidates manage their own time. They may wish to spend 25 minutes on task 1, 35 minutes on task 2. It is totally controlled by the candidates, but generally 20 minutes is a good time for task 1. The reading of general IELTS has got 3 parts or 3 sections: section 1, section 2, and section 3. And there are 40 questions in the reading, and the time is 60 minutes. So 40 questions with 1 hour. With each section there may be 13 or 14 questions. Sections 1 and 2 are short passages, and the passages that people may come across when they live in native English speaking countries, like for example job ads, or for example ticket information, or let's say for example electricity bill, or this sort of things which they may be dealing with on a daily basis when they live in an English speaking country. Section 3 is a lengthy passage, but the category of the passage is descriptive. It's not really difficult, it's not argumentative. It's a very easy passage about general things. It could be about, I don't know, life of animals. It could be about some common environmental problems, but they are not technical at all. The passage 3 or section 3 of the general reading, which is a lengthy passage, is not technical at all. It is actually made for non-technical candidates. 40 questions, 60 minutes. Listening. So listening of general and academic, and speaking of general and academic are the same. So listening of IELTS test is again 40 questions, and the time is 30 minutes, but at the end of the test, and the listening is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, they will be given 10 minutes to transfer their answer in the answer sheet. While, for example, this is not the case for reading. In the reading test of IELTS, they need to transfer their answers to the answer sheet at the same time they are doing the test. There's no extra time. While for listening, after the lectures are over and after the audio is played and it's done, they will have 10 minutes to transfer their answers from the question booklet to the answer sheet. That's it. And the speaking of IELTS is in 3 sections. It's an interview between the candidate and the examiner, and it has 3 parts. Part 1, which is general questions. They call it getting to know you questions, 4 or 5 questions about general issues, like what do you do every weekend, do you enjoy music, what kind of music do you like. It's very personalized questions. And part 2 of speaking, so 3 parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Part 2 of speaking is long term, like we call it long term because in Part 2 the candidates will be given a task card and they have 1 minute to take note of the task card, and then after the 1 minute they have 2 minutes to talk about the task card given, and of course they need to return the task card to the examiner. They won't be able to look at it, but they have their own notes. Part 3 is a two-way discussion. The examiner asks question, the candidate answer. It's like challenging and challenging back. In Part 2, it's very unlikely that the examiner stops or interrupts the candidate, while in Part 3, they will do. So, the time for speaking is like 11 to 15 minutes generally, and it's the same for academic and general. For the academic candidates, writing exactly has two parts. Part 2 is the same, but the difference is in Part 1. Part 1 of the writing, or task 1 of the writing for academic candidates, is like analyzing a given graph, analyzing a piece of statistical data. They may be given line chart, bar graph, pie charts, diagrams, tables. It's like a statistical figure, and they need to explain it very objectively. They need to write a very academic and objective report on given data. The time is exactly the same. The time is like 20 minutes and word limit is 150 words. So the layout is the same, but the task itself is different. And a task 2, which is common for general and academic candidates, is an essay task. And this is a task in which the students will be given a topic and they need to write a minimum 250 words in 40 minutes on the given topic. Okay, so 250 words, 40 minutes. The same happens for general candidates. The other difference of academic and general is reading. Reading of general candidates is really about general and about daily, for example, things in an English-speaking country, while, for example, for academic, there are 3 passages, passage 1, passage 2, passage 3. Just like general, with 3 passages, they have 40 questions. In 60 minutes, they must answer it. This is the same. But the passages and the texts they get is different because they start with lengthy passages. And averagely, the academic candidates need to process 2,500 to 2,700 words totally with the questions and the text. It's 60 minutes. The passages are lengthy, but they are not really technical. Actually, they are taken from journals, they're taken from articles, from books, but they are not technical passages. The category of passage could be discursive, could be argumentative, could be descriptive, could be anything. And normally, the level of difficulty increases from passage 1 to passage 3, which means passage 1 is really manageable, passage 2 is moderately challenging. In most of the time, passage 3 is really challenging for candidates, so they need to spend more time. Since they have 60 minutes, they can manage their time with 20, 20, 20. Or if they think they need more time on this one, they can go for 15, 15, 30. It really depends on their learning strategy and on how fast they are to process the information. It can be prescribed as one thing to candidates. The other difference between general and academic is the scoring. The scoring of reading in academic is different. Let's say, for example, if a general candidate gets, out of 40 questions, gets 30 correct responses, the score would be 0. So it's good to know that IELTS is marked from 0 to 9. 0 means nothing, 9 is the best score. And most of the students we are dealing with are those who are after band 7 and 4-7, which means 7, 7, 7, 7, 4-7 in one go. Most of the candidates we are dealing with, they need 4-7 for each skill. So if the general candidates get 30 correct responses in the reading test, the score would be 0. But if the academic candidate gets 30 correct responses out of 40, the score is 7. So you can see, with the same number of correct responses, there is one score difference because the passages in academic reading are, of course, more challenging, so the score is heavier. Listening is the same as academic reading for both general and academic candidates. If the candidates, either, because it's the same, they don't get any different questions for the listening. Either general or academic, if they get 30 correct responses for the listening, the score is 7. So it's not different at all. For task 1 and task 2, task 1 is always 40% of the overall score in writing, task 2 is 60%. So the same thing happens here. Task 1 is 40%, task 2 is 60%. So you can see that task 2 is heavier. That's why, you know, they have 40 minutes here while 20 minutes for task 1. So these are some of the like most important differences between academic IELTS and general IELTS. And the other difference is, like for example, for the reading test, the input that they get is very different. The other difference is, of course, their usage. The general IELTS has a different context, academic IELTS has a different context, but based on the years I've been teaching IELTS, I can say that the most challenging skill for candidates is first writing task 2, which needs a great level of creativity, and they must be critical thinkers, of course, and then reading. So I would say writing task 2 and reading, and especially again writing task 2, which needs a different level of thinking, is the most challenging skill for most candidates. If I'm not going to say for all of them, but for most candidates this is the case. So that's why, you know, we do our best just to feed them with different sources, of course not overloading them, to feed them with different sources to get it done. So if you come across any questions, or if you are still left with some, like for example unanswered questions, please do not hesitate to come and see me. Thank you all.